Really weird stuff. That's very weird.
Really Weird Stuff is a holistic Twin Peaks podcast. That means we discuss each episode within the context of the series as a whole. In other words, spoilers abound. Welcome to Really Weird Stuff, episode 20. Today we're discussing Twin Peaks Season 2, episode 12, The Black Widow.
And in the Wikipedia episode guide, it's just called episode 12. It's weird. Yeah, it was weird. I was like, what?
Yeah, well there's a...
Everything else had a name.
Oh.
Strange, yeah.
That is very strange.
I agree with you.
Wikipedia is not the complete information.
I guess not.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually Wikipedia, so now I feel like everything I've said is a lie. I've already said everything I know. And some of I said I don't know.
Yes.
Sure. It was this. This is not Wikipedia. This is just when you Google it, an episode guide. So why is it just episode 12? Yeah. It's weird.
I don't think the title should be B-plot related. That's my take.
Well, here's the thing about the titles. Is they were all given later. They didn't have titles at the time. So I'm not even sure who came up with the titles.
Interesting.
But then you feel like this title's supposed to have a double meaning, like with also Evelyn.
Maybe. How she wants to be a widow.
Right.
And how the front tooth is black.
This episode was written by Harley, Peyton, and Robert Engels, and directed by Caleb Deschanel. And it originally aired on January 12th, 1991. We're finally into 1991.
Yeah.
I'm Jessica Baxter.
Oh, right. I'm Annie Malone.
And joining us to talk about this episode is my wonderful husband and furniture expert, Chris Brugos.
Oh, what?
I thought you might have some things to say about the furniture in Ben Horn's office.
Oh, yeah, because, this is the follow-up to his ideas about feng shui.
Yeah.
And apparently he's all wrong about it. He thinks you're just to pile things on top of each other.
He needs help. I find this episode pretty enjoyable for a mid to late.
For a mid-season 2, it's it's not
it was
bad.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
There was a lot of funny stuff in this one.
Very funny. Good bits by Harley Peyton and Robert Engels. And let's just get right into it. It opens on the closed inner door of Ben Horn's office at the Great Northern. Well, there's a very persistent hi-hat, jazzy drum.
Toms and some hi-hat. No, nothing else. Just a drum solo. I like it.
Yeah.
Real jazzy.
And Bobby enters wearing, I think it's his funeral suit because it fits well. It's not the suit that he tried to borrow from Leo.
Right.
It's kind of shiny. This suit. Like it has like that sort of like green-purple glow to it.
Or maybe he just
like
got something
slick.
that Leo's tailored. Because I do feel like the suit he wore to the funeral was like very matte black. But he doesn't seem like a guy who could have more than one suit.
Maybe this is a brand new suit. Maybe he bought it from Horn's department store. From Dick Tremaine, Men's Fashions.
Maybe he did.
Maybe.
I'm not sure you should be getting fashion advice from Dick Tremaine, but...
Oh, God, not in this episode. God!
That is not a good fit.
Dick is always wearing too many clothes,
he does.
usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's too much, but then also it's shorts. It's like...
The shorts. It's a march.
March in Twin Peaks. It's not short. But that is such a Seattle thing. Like, if it's not raining, you're in shorts. It's like, come on.
He's being sporty.
Jess.
He's wearing his boots and his shorts.
He's matching with Little Nicky.
Oh, my God.
He got them matching outfits.
He said he would, and then he did.
Good
It was
follow-up.
foretold. Yes. They love to do that. Shelley and Norma go to the salon, and people do what they say they're going to do around here. Like how Bobby said he was going to figure out a way to get money from Ben Horn, and he is doing that. Reminds Ben about the tape that he sent.
Mr. Horn, did you listen to that tape that I sent you? Yes, I listened to your tape, Bobby. Frankly, I am surprised that Leo could master the technology. Damn it, Bobby, what do you want?
I mean, I almost like Ben in this scene. I don't like Ben ever, but I like how he's like What do you want? Like, let's just get to the point.
Right.
Let's stop dancing around. I know you sent me a blackmail tape, but just tell me what the fuck you want.
I have to say, I think it is very funny how he says, I'm amazed Leo could master that technology of a tape, just because, like, how David Lynch acts like tape recording is so magical.
It's all recorded. No! Bunda!
No,
like, I know he means it as a diss because he's just dumb, but it is funny, like, on a other level. It's a tape recording.
Because it's magic, basically, yeah.
Man, what's so magical about tape recording?
Nothing.
Mulholland Drive has got, like, we talked a lot about...
It's like, Noah Banda.
How he's like, this is a tape recording.
But David Lynch in general, he's, like, fascinated by electricity or something. It's like,
Yes!
the mystery.
The reason he likes the electricity is that he thinks of it as...
Unexplainable.
Yes, exactly.
So it's funny on that level, too.
Someone tries to explain it, he's like, no. I said it was unexplainable.
It is a mystery of the ages.
And Ben's, like, talking about how he's searching for balance and symmetry.
Bobby, you know what you have to have in this life? Balance. Distance. Symmetry.
But he's acting as if what he's constructed there is meeting those needs.
Yeah, it doesn't really play, does it? It doesn't work as like some sort of shrine he's made. It just looks like a haphazard pile.
It does. It really looks like it's about to fall over.
He says something about poets and dairy cows.
Yes. Bobby's like, I really admire you. He's just sucking up to him because I don't think he really does. And that's when Ben says,
Admiration is for poets and dairy cows, Bobby. I don't know what you mean.
Does that make any sense to you?
Right. Is that like an expression of some kind?
The first part does.
Right.
The second part,
Dairy
no.
cows.
Right. There's a lot of poetry in this episode.
There is.
I sort of get like the reference
motif.
to poets.
It would have been fine if he'd stopped at that. Admiration is for poets.
But it reminds me of something that is said in Dune, which David Lynch also directed.
Yeah.
When Gurney Halleck says a mood is for lovemaking and cattle. So it's also about cows. I wonder if he's referencing that or if it's on his mind.
Wow.
I guess
Weird.
David Lynch didn't write this or direct it, but
Right.
it's very similar.
But
lines.
maybe
also-
Robert Engels or Harley Peyton saw Dune and they were like, I liked how he drew the correlation between cattle and love for some reason. Maybe it is an expression. Are you Googling it
I
as an
am
expression?
Googling poets and dairy cows, but it just goes to Ben Horn.
I was going to say, in
Yeah.
fact, there's another example of this a little bit later on where I'm like, oh, is that a thing? And then it's like, no, it's just a Twin Peaks thing.
Just Twin Peaks being weird.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making a David Lynch show and you're a director and a writer, you're like, I'm going to throw some David Lynch stuff in here.
I mean, it's not the first time it's happened.
It's just Ben Horn saying it. Maybe he's trying to be deep and he's dumb.
I mean, Ben Horn loves to quote Shakespeare.
Right, but I feel like he's losing it.
He's got
I mean,
few times.
It's
Soldier guy.
supposed to
He's
make
like-
no sense because he's not making any sense.
Yeah. His look is very unhinged, obviously, and it's meant to be theatrical unhinging.
Right.
But the things he's saying are like things that, like, my boss at the financial firm, it reminded me of, like, the whole thing about the skyscraper metaphor. Who's in the penthouse?
The first question you ask yourself is what's on the top floor? Who's up there in the penthouse? And why? Now that's who I am. Are you? Yeah. Of course I am. Yes.
Right.
I see a skyscraper and I wonder who's in the penthouse. That's who I am. Who are you? That's his business acumen coming through or whatever. He's still got that. That's like on autopilot practically.
Yeah. Does it turn out Ben is sort of faking being crazy? Is he doing like a Hamlet thing here?
He's not. No. He's not faking.
Okay. He really is crazy?
As far as we know. I mean, as far as like,
In the show.
yeah.
He's going through it, as they say.
He really is, like,
I've
undone
forgotten.
by Catherine besting him. He can't fucking believe it.
And all of I feel like he was really rattled by, like, being arrested for Laura's murder, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that
he
gave him
felt
a
pretty
really good
invincible
scare.
before. Yeah, and now he feels like, oh, I could actually be arrested. I barely got out of that one. It's a good thing Leland came undone when he did.
Right.
It's just, he's going so above and beyond what a person would in real life do in this situation.
Yeah, well,
he's having a TV break.
He's being savvy a little bit. Like, he's having Bobby, figure out what Hank is up to. Mm-hmm. It's so theatrical.
Mm-hmm. He's lost it, but he's still...
With his,
he's still his personality,
he's a Confederate general later on.
Yeah.
He's already started doing that.
He starts with, it's Gettysburg Day 1 here, but...
Right.
I mean, I think he just is such a businessman at heart that he can't stop doing business even as he's having a mental breakdown.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Sure. He hands Bobby a 35mm camera. It's really big. It's a massive camera. And asks him to follow Hank Jennings and show him something he doesn't already know. And we know that Bobby's good at sneaking around, so he's making a good hire. As Bobby leaves the office, Lana comes around the corner screaming. And I like that she never stops screaming even when she kind of regards Bobby.
Yeah, she checks him out. It's
eye contact, screaming.
It's really funny.
That's pretty cute, yeah.
And that kind of unhinges Bobby a little bit. And there's a bit of physical comedy when he walks away and the camera gets caught on the door. And I actually looked that up while we were watching the episode. Brugos, you asked if that was unscripted, and it seems like it is, but it was in the script.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's just very well played by Dana Ashbrook.
Yeah, he underplayed that.
Perfectly executed.
It wasn't a pratfall, it just seemed like a mistake, but yeah, cool.
The magic of theater.
Yeah. At the police station, a real estate agent named Irene Littlehorse is showing a plainclothes Coop some cabins. And he tosses a coin to decide which one to see first. And it's definitely a magical coin toss.
Yes,
It slows down, it's musical.
Stays forever.
Yeah.
And it lands on the
Dead Dog Farm.
Dead Dog Farm.
Why would you name something Dead Dog Farm?
For some reason, we've had trouble selling this.
Yeah, right?
That's not usually how coin flips work. Usually you're like, heads, I go to this one, tails, I go to this one. Not, wherever this lands, that's where I'm going.
See, I thought he had in his mind which one would be heads or tails, and then it landed on something that wasn't even an option, and he's like, what's this?
That's
Yeah.
Or it's also just a Coop way to... That's probably how Coop's coin tosses work. Like, the coin will just tell me. We'll just leave me on the way.
Absolutely. It's like, I don't need to...
I didn't know where there were things on different sides. Like, what? What's this heads or tails he's talking about?
It does land on heads, though.
Right. I did notice that.
Which I was kind of thinking what you thought about how he had it in his mind. So either way it works. However he thinks coin tosses work, it works really well for him.
There's a lot of good fortune in this episode.
Yeah, the universe and Coop.
Right. The universe really wanted Coop to figure out this Canadian drug plot.
Yes.
Well, because it's how he gets off. He gets out of trouble.
Yeah. So that's good fortune.
And that's how he gets off.
Who doesn't?
Maybe a little of both. He definitely gets a look in his eye when Irene says it's a puzzle.
What is it?
A puzzle. No one ever really stays there long.
When can I see it?
He's like, oh my god, when can we see it?
He's got a semi for that.
Definitely. Don't try to talk him out of something by saying it's a puzzle.
Yeah, right.
In the lobby, Dick enters to join Andy, Lucy, and
Molly Shannon. Yeah.
Pre-SNL,
Yeah.
her character's name is Judy Swain, and she's from the Happy Helping Hands organization. She is Little Nicky's case manager.
Yeah.
I'm sure the file just says Little Nicky, because that's what his fucking name is. It's such a weird meeting. That whole thing. Like, why are they meeting at the police station?
Right.
She says...
As I was about to tell your friends, the number one thing to know about Nicky is that throughout his brief life, he has been very confused and perhaps traumatized by a persistent random misfortune.
What was this meeting?
Right.
They're checking him out of a library of kids.
Right. It's like, this is it.
But at the police station, not at the kid library.
Right, they come to you.
He's already got Little Nicky in the car preparing for this camping trip. Besides the obvious reason that they just didn't have that many sets.
More sets.
Right.
The scene is not worth a new set.
It could have been a phone call. I don't know. I'll meet you at the police station.
I'm glad it wasn't, though, because Molly Shannon is such a good physical comedian. She doesn't have that much to do, and she just sits down in a way that's really funny.
Yeah, she's a delightful person, the way she moves her body. The way she gestures to your friends. She does a wide gesture. Because I think she's a little puzzled. She's like, I don't understand why you are all invested in this. Is this a throuple situation? What's happening?
Kind
of. Yeah, it's not
that, yeah.
I don't know if it's because Dick was asking or what, but she says, I'm just here to tell you about Little Nicky's background. We don't really know much, other than he has a life of persistent random misfortune.
Persistent random misfortune?
I think persistent random misfortune becomes a motif in this episode. Not just for Little Nicky.
It's strange that they know they were killed, but not how?
Mysterious circumstances.
Yeah.
Just probably what it says in the file.
The orphanage would not tell.
Okay, right. So somebody knows.
Services.
Yeah. Right.
Orphan library.
Yeah, it seems like she's like a middleman for no reason. This is like a multi-level marketing. She's like, you have to go through her to get the kid for some reason.
There's no Happy Helping Hands organization. She's like, oh yeah, no, don't come to the office. I'll meet you wherever you are.
She's a black market kid renter.
She works with her nose, probably.
Okay. Like the Mary Kay lady. You can't go directly to Helping Hands. You have to find one of these go-betweens.
But then Harry enters in a rush to say that there's an emergency at the Great Northern, and it is that Dougie died.
Uh-oh.
Looks like a heart attack.
And some interesting sexy times with Lana.
Yeah.
Once stimulated, the female will respond in such a way that the skin around her... Oh my God.
Looks like Dougie went out with his boots on. Love poems of Lord Byron, Kama Sutra, hookers and handmaidens.
Sarah, look at this.
They were just throwing all kinds of stuff out. What a busy wedding night. He was like,
let's read some sex books.
The romance novel, the Kama Sutra.
Okay, and then here's one of the things that I was talking about. When you Google My Secret Life, an erotic memoir, there's a real book that was written by Walter, pseudonym, of a gentleman from Victorian times about his dalliances with prostitutes and what have you. And it was sort of this underground memoir for a while until it was officially published in 1966 in the US, and then it wasn't even published in the UK until 1995. But this is not that book.
Right. I mean, I would think there were several things called...
By Chris Garrity,
who
was actually an AD on Twin Peaks.
Aw, that's so sweet. I love it.
But when I Googled My Secret Life, the first thing came up by Walter, and that would have been a fine thing for it to be. But it wasn't that. It was this 80s memoirs, sexy memoirs.
This is it. The murder weapon. She might as well have blown his brains out with a rifle.
That's a ridiculous thing to think.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess they couldn't show sex toys on broadcast TV, so...
Yeah, the closest they get in a mask.
Erotica.
Yeah, like a Guy Fawkes mask.
Yeah, it's not a guy... Well, it's just like a weird clear mask.
Those are the creepiest kind of masks.
The kind that's just like a clear with makeup on it or whatever, or eyebrows. Yeah, I guess there couldn't just be straight up dildos. But it is really funny to think that it's mostly books. He was bored to death.
Right. She was just reading to him.
And he fell asleep and died of a heart attack. It does seem like that is the Occam's razor there. She was like, I'm 19 years old and I thought we were going to be doing it all night. And he's like, I am very old. I gotta go to sleep now.
I mean, he died. So I don't think he said, I'm going to go to sleep now and then die.
He said, I'm just going to die real quick. But, according to the supplemental materials, the secret history, Dwayne was very sure forever that Dougie was murdered. And Dougie did have a top secret military career that would sort of support why he would be murdered. He knows a lot of classified information.
But why would
Lana to do it?
Oh.
That's just a theory that Dwayne was positing for the rest of his days. And those were his reasonings. That goes beyond him just being like, she's a witch. But I think that's kind of interesting. It could have been a murder by somebody else.
Oh. Induced heart attack through some sort of poison.
Yeah. Be easy to do on a wedding night.
Yeah. I remember on my wedding night, I drank almost everyone's.
Yeah, we were paying for it all. You're like...
Hey, don't leave that.
Don't leave that a drink.
On don't know what this is, but I've already paid for it, so I'm drinking it.
It was all top shelf stuff, I know.
Lana's out in the hallway, looking real sad, and Hawk is trying to comfort her. As Dwayne walks by, he says that she's a witch. He also says to her, "You sexual adventuress."
Right.
You sexual adventurous. You're going to hell for this.
What an insult.
What a strange thing to call somebody.
Yes.
Dwayne's full of strange things to call somebody.
Right.
He's just so old that he talks like a weirdo.
He
Like
really
Mr. Burns, sort of. Yeah.
He is like Mr. Burns. And then I do feel like there might be some sort of is she, isn't she thing about her being a witch. Because of later on in this episode when everyone's so bewitched by her, and because later Dwayne does end up falling for her. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Yeah, something goofy is
She's
happening.
also just 19 years old and pretty, whatever.
Right, but there's so many beautiful women in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't people lining up for Audrey like that?
Right.
Audrey's much more beautiful than Lana.
She's certainly got a better personality.
Hawk's really into Lana.
Of course she needs a cure. I know a bit about these things.
Are you the sheriff?
Let's just say when something really big goes down, I'm the man.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, what about this Diane who went to Brandeis and may or may not be a local girl?
I guess they might have broken up.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, that can happen in 2 weeks.
That is true.
I guess she didn't like his shitty poem. So Lana tells Hawk, "I'm cursed," and he's like, "Oh, that's silly." But then she talks about her persistent random misfortune. But then she only gives one example.
Right, but
She says, "Every man I've ever been with, something bad has happened. It started in high school with this guy where we kissed in his braces."
But she's like 1 year out of high school, so.
Oh, that's true. It could have just been that guy and Dougie. That's a pattern for her. And then there's another funny bit of physical comedy when Lana asks Hawk if he's the sheriff. And he says, "When something big goes down, I'm the man." And he confidently leans against the door just as Andy opens it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really well played by everybody involved in that. At Twin Peaks High School, the wrestling coach, whose name, he gives a name. His name is Buck Wingate.
Buck Wingate, okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone ever says it, but he's officially got a name. And he's delivering a speech to tell us how inspiring it is, even though he can't really remember the name of anyone involved, which is kind of funny.
So, yeah.
Boys, there's a story about a great football coach whose name escapes me at this time, who was dead set against having any black players on his team until somebody brought him the finest black halfback anyone had ever seen. And when what's-his-name saw him run 50 yards and no one lay a hand on him, he shouted, "Look at that Indian go."
There was a guy who...
I don't know, he was a white guy.
Racist guy, and he was slightly less racist when you realize black people were good athletes. So... There we go.
Anyway, all this is to say that we're letting Nadim on the team.
And today, this story applies to this young girl's right to compete, in addition to it being her moral and constitutional right.
I really like it. I love this guy. He's so excited that his team is going to actually win because Nadine's really good at wrestling. Yeah. And she's having a great time, but she's mostly there to convince Mike to go out with her. And she's just going to do anything she thinks she can to get in the proximity.
Yeah, like pick him up over her head, spin him around, and throw him. Now will you go out with me?
1, 2, and 3.
Now you go out with me?
Well, now.
Right. I like that they remembered that Mike was on this show.
They needed Mike back.
I guess.
It's because we don't have the other one anymore. You notice they're never in the same place at the same time.
Which other one?
The other Mike.
Oh,
Philip
the one on
Gerard.
man.
Yes, Philip Gerard Mike. In the hallway, Donna is looking hot. I love this outfit. This is like my favorite Donna outfit of all time.
Nice outfit.
I love it.
Oh, I like her visiting James in jail outfit a little better, but
that is a really good one. But she's just acting so.
She was acting like she wanted to do it with me.
She's just acting so slutty. Like
I mean, she was acting pretty weird.
She's acting horny. I love it, but
yeah, I liked it, but you know.
This is like a really just regular teenage Donna looking cute in a nicely fitting sweater. I don't know. I like the V-neck on it. I like the skirt. Her hair is like, she's got really nice blowout or whatever. I don't know. Her hair looks good. Anyway, Mike limps up to her and asks her to pretend they're still dating so that Nadine will back off. And Laura from Bloyle absolutely nails this line. Sorry, Mike, I'm not that good of an actress.
Yeah, that's really funny.
I really love it. But then we're at the Marsh estate.
Oh, God, no.
We meet Evelyn's annoying brother Malcolm.
God, what a family.
These two.
I don't know who's worse, my gosh.
It's really hard to say.
I really hated this whole thing when I watched it the first time I ever watched it. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But I actually kind of enjoyed it today just because it's so stupid.
I almost feel like I enjoy it
Everyone's
more
so
now
bad.
having seen The Room because some of Malcolm's lines sound like they were written by Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
We're like, that's the nice thing about things.
The thing about things, right. That's the nice thing about things.
And then when he says you
Good
can jot
one.
that down and put it under your pillow.
That's the golden rule around here. You can jot that down and put it under your pillow.
Yeah, that is like a keep your comments in your pocket. I'm like, what? Why would I do that?
Knowing what we know now about how it's just an elaborate ruse to try and trick James, not knowing that they don't have to do anything to trick James.
Right.
Like, James is already tricked.
So they're trying to trick James into killing, what's his butt?
They're gonna kill Jeffrey.
They're trying to frame James.
They want to frame
for
Right.
killing Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is Jeffrey not even really abusive? Or is that part true but they just need someone to frame for his murder?
Can't even
I
remember.
guess we'll figure it out in further episodes.
I know. I should know. I should remember, but it's hard to remember. You try not to remember.
Don't think about this storyline as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. All I remember is that they're setting him up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're working way too hard at it because they just don't need to be. But I have to say that I enjoyed his monologues more this time than I have before. Just because it's so ridiculous.
So, yeah. They're both so off-putting, you know? I believe that they're related.
Editor's note. They're not.
You get the family resemblance.
Like, she's got the weird tooth and he's got the crazy forehead.
His hair is just the worst hair
Imagine
possible.
someone's forehead being so strange that next to James,
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
It's a lot of forehead in that shot.
Yes.
It's too much forehead.
I know.
You know,
It's
you got hair.
so- yeah. I mean, it's more than a 5-head. That's a lot. You know?
But it also, like, it's kind of poofy and then long.
Right. It's well, also like Evelyn
the best
does
hair
that
they
weird
have
thing
next to
where
anyone?
Evelyn doesn't have bangs, but she like sprays
Yeah.
this
Yes,
hair up.
yes.
And that's
Yeah.
what you're doing is literally how I tried to do it because I loved her hair when I was in middle school.
Like,
That's
it.
the best
That's what I
hair
want.
to a 12-year-old in the
The
1990s.
up and sweep over the side
You
bang.
hold your hair
Yeah.
up as high
And
as you
spray it,
can and
yeah.
spray, do a little teasing for sure. But no, hers is so smooth though. Oh. I just look at it and I remember wanting it so bad and not being able to accomplish it. And now I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
But it looks great at the time to me.
Did you try to black out one of your front teeth?
I don't think I could tell she had fucked up teeth because I was watching it on like literally a
That's true, it
14-inch
wasn't
television.
HD, yeah. That's why you had to have big hair on TV.
Yeah.
All you could see about
Hair for
somebody.
the cheap seats.
She's really playing for the non-HD.
Oh, the helpful bit that Malcolm provides is that there's the cycle where Evelyn gets beaten and then destroys one of Jeffrey's cars.
Right,
And
one of his
so-
things.
One of his things.
I'm sorry, am I being obscure? Once a fortnight, Jeffrey pounds her mercilessly, and she tries to get even by breaking one of his things.
He makes sure the whole story gets to James.
Right.
It's really feeding James the setup, and that he's too drunk to do anything about it himself.
Yeah.
Somehow.
At the dead dog farm, Irene and Coop step out of the car, and Coop asks questions about the place, and Irene describes it as,
Of all the people in the world, the best and the worst are drawn to a dead dog. Only those with the purest of heart can feel its pain.
and you know which one of those Coop is supposed to be?
Yeah, her actual thing doesn't make any sense. I can't
I
remember.
feel
It's
like she didn't say
there's the best
what.
and the worst, and
and
then some turn
then the
away,
people in
and then
between.
everyone else is in between. It's like, who are the some that turn
I
away?
feel
Is some
like-
of the best turn away, or some of the worst, or some of each.
I
think she's made
I
6
feel like
categories
she,
of people.
only explained why the best are drawn, but not really why the worst. And then it was like, and then other people are like, nah. Like, it's like,
It doesn't go anywhere. Like,
not.
She's not selling the place hard. I don't
She's
know.
not.
She
at all.
really
She's
is
like,
not.
She doesn't expect to sell it.
Yeah, she's
I
wasting
think she
her time.
basically feels like her time is being wasted. So
It's an investment. He wants to buy. He's a real buyer. He's just kind of a kook who likes to see curious places.
yeah, I feel like she knows he's not gonna buy it. Like, he never does buy it. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he ever would have bought it, you know, if he didn't go and get stuck in the black
If he
box.
wasn't stuck in the
Right.
black box.
I think he would have bought some property, but not that one. Because he did say he wanted to raise a family there, and I wouldn't think he would want to raise a family in a place that the worst are drawn to.
And the best.
And the best.
The best and the worst.
And everyone else. And some go away. Cool story.
I mean, I feel like that is how you would sell to Coop.
Make it a puzzle.
Maybe she knows her audience, you know?
Yeah.
A place that has lore around it. You'd like that.
That's true.
I think she's just making that lore up, though, because it sounds...
She might be.
She's just,
It's a weak story.
it sounds like that's what she's doing, like trying to come up with something for the
And Coop
best,
isn't really even listening anyway.
and the worst,
Yeah.
and also in between, and it should have just been Molly Shannon in a wig or something.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Oh my god. And I have a real estate license. Coop is not even really listening to Irene, though. He's like looking at the tire tracks.
Yes, that's important.
Yes. You can very much tell
Three
the
kinds of
difference
cars
between
over
three
there.
kinds of cars. Jeep, a four-wheeler, and a luxury sedan.
Four-wheeler. It's like all cars, right?
One with four-wheel drive, I think. I can tell.
As opposed to a Jeep.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I think a Jeep he was looking at the tire prints. So Jeeps must have a very specific tire print.
Mm-hmm.
And then a luxury sedan has a specific tire print. And the reason why I said four-wheeler maybe is like, could have been some kind of SUV, I can't tell. Because those are all the same.
Or like an ATV or something. That's what I thought.
4 wheels. Could have been 2 bikes.
It was a skateboard.
Inline rollerblade. Just one.
Skateboard.
It's like 4 wheels.
They go inside, the door's open. There's evidence of a recent meeting.
Yeah, plus also looks like there was a fire at some point.
Those curtains.
The burned curtains.
Had been up in
Like,
flames.
nobody seems to be fazed by that.
I
at
think
all.
that was probably already like that.
I feel like if a house is on the market, they shouldn't.
They should dress the house a little more.
Yeah, or at least even take down the burned up curtains.
Get rid of the curtain.
Right, you don't have to not even replace it.
Don't need it.
You know what? I'm gonna take down these burned curtains.
She said nobody had been there in the past year, and it's only drug dealers that are going there.
Yeah.
They weren't ready. She didn't even know how that fella got in there.
True. That's what blows my mind in this scene, really, is that we'll just put a random powder in his mouth. Powder that's in the sink.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't like that at all.
It could have been like, what do you call it?
Like
the
comet or something?
comet, yeah.
It didn't look like
Toxic
something you were
chemicals.
supposed to eat. Like, it didn't even look like
He just
it
had a
could...
feeling about
Oh, maybe
baby
this is
laxative.
powdered sugar or something. It's like,
I bet he was
no,
like
that...
99% sure it was baby laxative. He knows his white powders.
So that's a question I have. Is there a class at Quantico that's like
White powder.
white powder testing day where today we're
Right.
tasting a bunch of white powder
Definitely.
and you have to tell us what's what?
Yeah. We did that in chemistry class at UW.
Where you tasted stuff?
Yeah, we could taste it. They told us beforehand, like, you can taste any of these. None of them are poisonous.
What was it? Like, what was it? What were some of the things?
Citric acid, or baking soda, or salt. It was all the common chemical things. But we were meant to figure out what they all were. There's like sweeteners and things like that. So it's kind of fun. Like using chemical tests to figure out what they were. Because you couldn't taste the difference between, I can't remember. Some things you wouldn't know what they tasted like. Or they had no taste, so it didn't help.
Okay. Interesting.
But you mix them with acid, and if it foamed up, you're like, okay, then that's baking soda.
Maybe there's nothing you could do in the field besides use
People do that all the time. There's always like
on TV.
There's always a scene where people taste like orc blood,
yeah.
poison. Adventurers always do that.
Blood. I don't get it.
Or Alfred Molina's character in the beginning of Indiana Jones, like tastes some blood and spits it out. I always like that. It's good acting by Mr. Molina.
Oh, he's great in that. Yeah. That's one of his best.
Yeah, so Coop just tasting laxative and tasting cocaine.
Tasting powders around the room. Just as an aside, I really want that final flower share that's in that scene.
Did he taste the cocaine off of?
No, it's the one across
the other one. Okay.
Yeah, the one he tastes the cocaine off is not in good shape and needs to be reupholstered by our friend Darshan ASF. But there's like a really cool one that's a vinyl flower pattern.
And they're the one
you nice.
I love it.
I would have to be pretty sure something was like candy for me to taste it off a chair.
Yeah, like having seen your child spill.
Yeah, exactly. If they like dropped a pixie stick on their chair, then I might eat it. Because I like candy.
Especially since he was just going to bag it up and bring it to Denise anyway. Like, the tasting was unnecessary.
Well, I mean, maybe he's not going to bother if it's just pixie sticks.
If it's pixie stick.
Denise was like, wait, what are you bringing me this for?
Or more baby laxative. Yeah. He gets really excited. I really like when he's like, we have to go to the police.
He's like, oh, we have to go to the sheriff.
The sheriff.
His best friend.
Because he just did a tiny bit of coke.
Totally. I'm suddenly so excited about going to the sheriff. Also, that's a Formica table. Just like in the room above the convenience store. Remember?
No.
In Fire Walk With Me, in the room above the convenience store, there's a Formica table that Bob sits across from the arm, and the arm says, "This is the Formica table," and rubs the table.
So, it's a sign of evil.
It is, yeah.
All right.
We have one in our breakfast snack.
We've tried to make our house as evil as we can.
Yeah. It's not working. On the side of the road somewhere, Dick is trying to change a tire, I think, but the tire looks fine. Yeah. But he's got the car on up on a jack, and he's reading about tires in his manual, which the internet says is a manual for a Volvo, apparently, but that's not the Volvo. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and Little Nicky is in the car.
Oh, gosh,
fucking with it. And the scene just goes on for too long. The setup is interminable.
Right.
Cut back to Dick reading the manual and mumbling to himself frustratedly.
And he's got the car jacked up, which is the hard part.
Right, like
taking off the screws. It's just not that difficult. That's just unscrewed.
I'm not even sure what he's trying to do. He doesn't have another tire there to put on.
He might in the trunk. Maybe there's a spare.
Maybe. He's in over his head.
He takes care of his car, so I bet he has a spare. He doesn't drive around with a spare.
That's true. He keeps his car clean. We know that much.
Exactly.
His car is very clean.
And in perfect working order.
So said Big Ed at the gas firm.
I feel like part of it is just to have a little car trouble motif, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're right.
Yeah, and you get shots, I think, of both of them with their greasy hands.
You're right. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like James is doing all that much, I'll be honest. I know he does get the car working, but he's like, anytime you see James, he's just like...
drinking a beer.
He's drinking a beer or just kind
sitting in the car.
Yeah. He's not really doing much.
Maybe they're paying him by the hour.
I think she just said you can live
he can live there.
As long as you want.
Until the car's fixed.
Right.
So he's not in a hurry. The other thing that's funny about this scene is the matching outfits. That's when it's revealed that Little Nicky is wearing the same ridiculous...
Right.
Black fake turtleneck, or faux turtleneck, under a plaid shirt, under a denim coat with a fur collar.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. It's so upsetting.
And corduroy shorts.
Corduroy shorts. Knee-length corduroy shorts.
Khaki. And boots and woolly socks.
Yeah.
Woolly socks.
It's very ugly.
The boots and woolly socks are pretty practical for camping.
Yeah.
The shorts are they're going to be too cold.
The shorts and the jacket I really don't like.
Yeah. They're just trying to make them look silly.
Mm-hmm.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, they did it. Making Dick look silly is a thing that they need to do in the show.
Actually, I like that Dick is wearing that outfit too, because otherwise I don't think it would look as silly on Little Nicky. Like, it's funny when he's like, I'm going to buy us matching outfits. You think, oh, like the little boy is going to be dressed as the man, not like the man is going to be dressed as the little boy.
Well, they go out of their way to show that Little Nicky did not push the car.
Yes, they do. They go out of their way to show that it's all in Dick's head.
You're right.
The point of that scene, I guess, is that Little Nicky would be sad if something happened to Dick. Right.
Well, the thing Dick takes away from it is that Little Nicky's trying to kill him.
Because he's such a fucking idiot, I guess.
Right.
He stands away from the car. I didn't even understand
that, but Dick didn't see that.
He didn't see that? Okay.
I still know what happened to that car.
He just didn't do a good job jacking it up.
Apparently, he fucked that up. He had it way too high. You do not have to get the car that high up.
But yeah, we do learn right in this episode, like, the mystery for us is solved right away, that Little Nicky is actually just a traumatized orphan. And he's going to be further traumatized by the accusations coming from Dick. Poor kid. Back at the police station, Coop walks in to see Harry talking to Colonel Kelvin Riley about Major Briggs' disappearance.
It's just funny when he says, "Did you see any wildlife?" and Coop doesn't know what that means.
What?
When you were at the site, did you notice any wildlife in the area?
Wildlife?
Birds, owls?
What do you mean wildlife?
Birds.
Like birds, owls, things of that nature? I mean, like, it's just... Oh, wildlife, yeah. Like, that's very strange.
Maybe just because he just didn't understand why he would ask that question. So he was just thinking, like...
It's kind of a weird question.
When you were out in the woods, did you see wildlife? Yeah, is a weird question.
You're talking about the disappearance. Because if you...
Right, yeah. Do you think a mountain lion took him?
And he's like, I already told you, he walked into a big white light. Yeah, I think he's just caught off guard by the question. Like, why do you want to know about that? We're talking about Major Briggs' disappearance. And then he's like, oh, owls, right.
He has a real clunky line to end his monologue about Major Briggs is so important that his disappearance would make the Cold War look like a sniffle.
His disappearance has implications that go so far beyond national security. The Cold War seems like a case of the sniffles.
The case of the sniffles. Yeah, I have to really think about that line.
That's
like,
real close.
Oh, because of the Cold War.
Yeah. I mean, a cold is pretty much a case of the sniffles anyway.
Yeah.
It's a real groaner.
That is not the fish in the percolator.
I mean, a cold is basically the most mild thing you can get. So it's like, it'll make a cold look like something less mild than a
worse
cold.
than like slightly less, not as bad.
Right.
Still, I don't understand the gravity of the situation.
The Cold War was a big deal. It was like important to a lot of people.
Right.
The Major Briggs' disappearance isn't that important to anybody.
Well, he's not saying that the disappearance is like that. He's saying that the implications are. Because he says it's so far beyond classified.
Yeah. Right.
Like, what's going on is a big fucking deal.
He stresses that it's not just national security, that it's like international.
I think it's interstellar
security, or interplanar of reality.
Yeah.
It's just really clunky.
It is.
I don't like it.
I feel like that actor pulls it off somehow.
Yeah, he's good.
When you think about it. He's got a good, serious military guy delivery.
Mm-hmm.
I like his thing about, you may know something...
We know about the monitors and the messages from deep space that you received pertaining to me.
You may know something, but you best get your facts straight. The messages we intercepted were sent from right here in these woods.
He doesn't sound flippant about it. He's just like,
it's a really
you don't
weird
understand what a big deal is.
He's
like, it's a big deal.
He's like, it's a big deal and I can't tell you anything. And they're like, well, we can't help you. And it's like, is he even asking for their help?
Right.
I guess sort of.
Well, he was asking Harry something before Coop got there.
He's like, were there wildlife? I guess he does want to know something.
I think he's just trying to see if there's anything they missed. They'd already talked to them, but I think that's something they would do, is just go over and over the case.
Is the show just reminding us that he's gone? So that when he comes back at the end...
Probably.
I think that's
probably a bit of that, yeah. That's what the conversation is, like, remember how this happened?
Right.
Did you see anything? Yes, I know. I guess he says he heard the owl. He didn't see the owl.
Right.
But it does seem like he saw the owl, because we see the owl... Coop looks as if he sees the owl, but then Coop says he only heard the owl. Anyway. Yeah, that is a clunky line. Oh, and then the other important bit of information is that the facts that need to be straightened are that the messages were not coming from space, they were coming from the woods.
A little retconning there, maybe.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because it is about the White Lodge.
Yeah, the message was, it was just, like, said Cooper.
At the terrible mansion.
No.
James finishes up the car and is kind of asking Evelyn for more details, and she's like, nah, don't worry about it.
Right.
It's not as bad as I made it out to be.
But I think she's happy to know that he's taking the bait. He's like, why don't you just leave? And she says it's complicated. And just then Jeffrey comes home.
Right, and beeps his horn.
But I do think it's interesting that you mentioned that it was funny that he did that, because I think it was probably Malcolm who beeped the horn.
Yeah.
Because he's the driver.
Right.
And there was probably some conversation about how I'm going to go talk to James and get him to make out with me and let me know. Beat the horn when you come
so
here.
So we can, like, unentangle ourselves.
Yeah. So those are, you know, clues in retrospect.
I like to think he just comes and, like, they beat the horn and
every
he
time
runs out of the house to meet him out in the driveway.
Maybe that is something that happened.
That's how I come home every time.
That's true.
It's nice. It's a nice way to come home.
Beep, beep. Come on, running. Come on out, everybody.
You want to see Daddy when Daddy gets home.
Aww, Lily used to say that all the time.
Aww.
At the Great Northern, Audrey is waiting for Bobby. Bobby's hitting on her a bit, which I'm not pleased with because I just think about Shelley at
Shelley,
home.
yeah.
Leo.
Is there anything I can help you with?
Maybe you could help me celebrate.
Not cool. Bobby's gallivanting around, and he says he's doing it for both of them, but, I mean, it's one thing to flirt with Audrey, but it's another thing to try to kiss her. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But she is not having it. She's just like, now we can do business together, but
Right.
that's about the extent of it. And then he goes into the office with his envelope, and she goes into her spy hole. And unfortunately, that's when we learn that it's Gettysburg Day 1. Bobby shows Ben some pictures, and we don't see what the pictures are, but we'll find out later. They're not exactly from the Rotary, says Bobby. I really like that line.
What is the Rotary?
It's like a social club. I think it's kind of like adult 4-H.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's wholesome. This is not wholesome.
These guys aren't wholesome.
Yeah. And I also like the exchange of how much am I paying you? Consider this your first raise. He does give him money.
A bill.
Like, here's your raise from nothing. We
Here's
discussed nothing, and here's something.
Here's
Right.
20.
Bobby seems happy with it. And then we're at the Blue Pine Lodge for such a fun scene. I think Pete might be hammered.
Nectar of the gods, my dear. It's the bubble.
Yeah. Well, isn't that a thing? Didn't Jack Nance have like a serious drinking problem?
Yeah,
You say he was drunk during the filming?
Maybe. I mean,
It's the bubbles.
yeah. What is the bubbles? No one has even taken a sip of it or said anything about it.
He says
It's
nectar of the
bubbles.
gods, and then he says it's the bubbles.
That's why it's the nectar of the gods.
Yeah.
The gods love the bubbles.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. There's lots of stuff that's bubbly, though. Pete and Catherine are celebrating Ben Horn's downfall, and Pete starts quoting Yeats.
Wine comes in at the mouth. Love comes in at the eye. I touch my glass to my lips. I look at you and sigh.
Is that often something people use as a toast? Wine comes in at the mouth.
It's real clunky. I do not like that.
Yeah.
Yates can do better.
Yeah, this is really great.
This is mid-tier
Ow! Ow, my eye!
All right.
Why did you come in my eye?
Yikes. No, thank you. It's pretty salty. I mean, maybe it's just like a saline. I don't know. Don't try it, though. I wouldn't do it.
And then Catherine placates it by saying that's very lyrical.
It's Yeats. He's a poet.
And then she's like, I know some limericks.
That was a poem, yes.
Indeed, that was a poem. I really want to know about the lady from Galway.
I know. How's that one go?
Really, Pete, that was
There once was a lady from Galway.
Josie!
What rhymes with Galway?
All the way.
The lady from Galway went all the way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's a little tame.
Well, there's more to the poem. It's just the second line.
Oh, I thought that was going to be the last. I mean, that's like how the girl that's from Nantucket.
Gotta.
Fuck it. Hey, yeah. One of those.
Suck it. I thought it was suck it. This was a guy from Nantucket.
Right.
So the lady from Galway goes all the way. What? It writes itself.
Yeah, but
guys.
I think the second line of the Nantucket poem is suck it. I think there's more.
Second line?
Yeah.
Well, then what's the last line?
I don't know.
It's only 5 lines in the limerick.
Shall we look at it?
Shall we? This is definitely relevant. Look up Lady from Galway.
One limerick at a time?
Which one are you looking
Lady
up?
from Galway.
I'm looking up Galway. The Once Was a Man from Nantucket comes up a lot earlier. It's the first thing. This was a lady from Galway. There we go. That's off Twin Peaks. Irish wine limericks.
Yikes. Jesus Christ.
You want to do the Nantucket one?
I mean, it's like worse than the one that comes up on Wikipedia. There was a young man from Nantucket whose dick was so long he could suck it.
Yes.
He said with a grin as he wiped off his chin, "If my ear was a cunt, I would fuck it."
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
Wow. I mean, that's a little rough, honestly. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't like it.
That's what a limerick is. It's
I know what a limerick is. Hey, it wasn't gonna be that dirty.
The lady from Galway.
I thought there'd be two people involved in that, you know? So this guy's
It's
just
only-
fucking his own body. I don't like that at all.
Limericks are short. There's not enough time for two people.
I could fit two people into a limerick, I'm sure.
I don't even want to read this one I have about the lady from Galway because
I
it's
read
so
the super-
bad. Well, it's dumb. It's just not good. It doesn't even rhyme very well.
Oh no.
Well,
There once was a lady from Galway who loved rack of lamb with red game. But one time a year she only drank beer to celebrate Merry St. Pat's Day.
Jesus, that's terrible.
It's like the worst Galway. Like
I'm glad he didn't finish that one.
Yeah,
Wow.
this was a lady from Galway.
He's like, I know a limerick about a woman from Galway, but it's super boring.
And it barely rhymes.
You might think it's dirty, but it's not. Well, anyways, then Josie comes in wearing her maid's uniform, and I feel like the only reason she's not super mad about wearing it is because she knows how fucking cute she looks.
Right.
She's like, joke's on you, Catherine, I am adorable. Especially when she puts that hat on.
Oh, and put on your little maid's cap.
She's like, you want me to put on my hat and look even more adorable? Sure.
How is that hat supposed to stay on?
It didn't. It was already falling off. She had her head at a tilt to keep it on. A hat pin. Her hair was...
And the hair.
Not
Her
the
hat
hair.
pin.
Her hair was all down. That was the only sad part about it, was that her hair was a little flat.
Hair, yeah. Her hair was not slicked.
Yeah.
To make her look really pathetic.
Like, did Catherine take away her hair gel? As
Brugos
Brugos?
said
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's pretty mean of Catherine.
Yeah.
She's like, why don't you borrow some from your boyfriend? How is that, Catherine?
Who's the boyfriend?
Harry.
Harry. There was a boyfriend from Twin Peaks. I know, you really
Go
wanna-
on. Yes, and?
Pete asks if Catherine's not being too hard on Josie, and wow. Catherine is like, no, in fact...
Josie had a hand in Andrew's death, and she did everything in her power to destroy me. She's lucky she's not hanging from a tree.
Yikes.
What the fuck, Catherine?
Good thing my lynching days are over. You know, like,
Jesus.
If I were just a few years younger,
I mean, wasn't that, I know. Wasn't there a thing about, like, how Pete could climb a tree really fast?
Yeah.
So it's like, was that, like, to help her lynch people? Like,
No, they fucking hope
No way.
no way. Pete don't lynch.
no way.
Girlfriend, no way.
But he is very smitten by her
Yeah.
and not deterred by that horrible thing to say about Josie's dirty deeds.
Right.
I mean, they're not so dirty that she warrants being hung from a tree.
I mean, I don't know. Isn't she saying she killed her brother? Like,
Yeah.
that's dirty.
But she already knows that she didn't.
But Pete doesn't know that.
Okay, true.
Also,
She did try to
Josie,
kill Coop.
But nobody there knows that.
I feel like she didn't not try to kill Catherine, right? Like, wasn't she involved in the whole insurance thing with Catherine? You know.
Yeah, she was in cahoots with Ben.
Right.
No, the plot is too complicated to understand, but she is definitely complicit in some way.
She's bad news, you
Yeah,
know?
she's bad.
They have a proper read on her. She's bad.
Right.
It's just, yeah, it's poor taste.
I mean, if someone, as far as they knew, killed your brother and tried to kill you, and you're like, okay, your punishment is you make my breakfast every day. I mean, come on.
And no hair.
The hair gel.
Great. That's going easy on her little That must be why Josie sticks around. She's like, I guess I am lucky I'm hanging from a tree.
That's the only two ways to punish someone.
Yeah.
You either have to make you breakfast or lynching.
Oh, good lord. Either way, I feel like Pete is, when he says, here's to you, Poodle.
I would like to propose a toast to Ben Horn's Double Cross. Here's to Josie Packard's dirty deeds. And here's to the woman who brought them down.
Here's to you, Poodle.
Don't toast Catherine for that.
Right.
In room 315 of the Great Northern,
Yay.
is checking the paper, and he finds Wyndham Earl's latest chess move.
No.
which was posted before Coop submitted his move, so he determines that Wyndham Myrtle is anticipating his moves, and that, to him, says, and very wisely, that that's not his main goal. Like, he's up to something. He's hiding something behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And he's right. Wyndham Myrtle is trying to distract him with this chess business, and I guess the audience, because, I don't know. We're not really thinking about it too hard, I guess. He's talking to Diane about it. He says,
Nonetheless, it's the kind of place where a man might make a home, raise a family, which is something, in spite of my past, I still hope I'm able to do. However, even this bucolic hideaway is filled with secrets.
Even this bucolic hideaway is filled with secrets. What does he mean, even?
Right,
Like,
just picking up on that? This has been the theme of the whole thing.
Yes. And he regards his bookhouse boy patch, and it seems like maybe he regrets doing that a little bit, because while he's like kind of rubbing his thumb over the bookhouse boy patch, he says there's a very real possibility of imprisonment. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten involved with these.
Maybe he shouldn't have done the extracurricular
above the law types. Yeah. But just as he's starting to think about that, there's a knock, and it's Audrey.
Yay!
Who stole the envelope with the pictures, and we get to see for the first time who it is.
This is for you. I stole it.
Do you think you better give it back?
Not until you look at what's inside.
Okay.
It's Jean and Hank and Ernie and that shady ass.
The dirty Mountie.
The dirty Mountie.
Yeah, Audrey's like, I did good.
I did good, didn't I?
Audrey, you did better than good. You may have saved my life.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
And Coop was like, you may have saved my life, and nothing could possibly make Audrey happier than to hear that.
Yeah. This is a great scene for Audrey.
Oh my god, it's so great. And then Denise knocks on the door.
I love this so much.
Audrey's reaction is both fascinating and adorable.
It's fantastic. It's so good.
Special Agent Denise Bryson, Drug Enforcement Agency. This is a very good friend of mine, Audrey Horn.
They have women agents?
More or less.
Thank you. Well, you're welcome.
They have women agents?
She's so into that idea. Like, it had never occurred to her that she could maybe become an agent. Like, she's got all these ideas now, but then she's also, like, insanely jealous. She's like, am I interrupting something? Maybe even a little horny. Like, she might be a little confused looking at Denise. Why do I feel this way? She doesn't seem to have any idea that Denise is a trans woman.
I think she does. Yeah. I think that's what flusters her, and she has a little hard time saying what she's trying to say. She gets a little flustered before she leaves.
Yeah, but it seems like it's because she didn't expect there to be women working in the field with Coop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what's flustering her.
I think it's that she accepts a trans woman as a woman immediately, you know?
You think she knows?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's, like, super awesome. I think it was that trans girl on Twitter that we tried to get on here. She was like, you know, the two purest-hearted people on the show, or the people that have the most accepting reactions to Denise are Coop and Audrey, and they're the two purest hearts on that shit, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's hard to, you know, when you're looking at it, and one, you know it's David Duchovny, like, that doesn't help, you know. I think anybody sees her and knows that.
I think Ernie does.
She puts her panties on one leg at a time,
too.
right?
Yeah.
But I think Audrey does.
I think she does.
Okay.
That's how I read that anyway. But it doesn't really matter.
I think it does matter because of the context of it being 1990 and it being small town. Cooper's been out in the world, so he's had a chance to know about the world beyond a small town, but Audrey hasn't really. It's not like there's the internet or anything like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Okay. Like, all of the concepts are...
She may have no idea that there is such a thing as a trans woman.
Right.
Right. She may be just, at this point, figuring that out.
Right.
She's like, oh, this is something that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be true. I think she's a little flustered by Denise.
Yeah.
And maybe there's like a lot of different readings of that. It could just be she doesn't realize that there's no romantic thing between Denise and Coop. I read that too. I think she is jealous at first.
Because Denise hugs him when she walks in.
And she says, like, am I interrupting something, like,
Yeah.
as if she's annoyed that they seem to have some sort of relationship. But she quickly gets over that and then is really into the idea of Denise being an agent, obviously thinking about being an agent herself. But then I think there was a moment where she's like, she might even know what a trans person is, but she's like, this is a trans woman. This is a man that is wearing women's clothes and isn't, like, rude or anything, but is kind of, like, confused and flustered. Mm-hmm. That's how I read all that.
Okay, so then why do you think that she plants a big kiss on Coop?
Yeah, I guess it could relate back to the earlier jealousy thing. Or it could be just something she's been wanting to do for a while and feels empowered because she saved his life.
I mean, my read on it is like she's like
feeling good about it.
Yeah, like she feels
that she could be an FBI agent.
Yeah, like she's on this high of like that she saved his life. He said, you maybe have saved my life. I mean, she was just like, did I do good? You know, and then it was like, you might have saved my life. And then it's like, they have women agents? Like, she's just like, what? You know, like, I feel like she's just so stoked.
That's true.
And men can dress like women? Okay, I can kiss this guy.
Right. She's like, anything can happen. Right.
The world is like, full of possibility.
Oh, right. Oh, I love that. But she's just so moved to follow her bliss all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right.
Aw. That's the only kiss they ever get. As she leaves, Denise comments on the electricity.
Now can we talk about something more important? Exactly how old is that girl?
And that's what Coop says.
Denise, I would assume you're no longer interested in girls.
A naive assumption to be sure, but Denise explains it in a very cute and patient way.
Coop, I may be wearing a dress, but I still pull my panties on one leg at a time, if you know what I mean. Not really.
But also not very clearly. Basically, she's saying, you assumed wrong, but it's more complicated than you might have thought.
And she said that, and I was like, I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean.
And then Coop says, not really.
Yeah. His delivery, the not really line, is really, really good.
Right.
And I think maybe not knowing what people mean is a motif, because that's earlier.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people say things that make no sense.
And the other person's
just
like,
weird.
I don't know what you mean by that. Like Irene about her, people come and...
Or like the black man who's an Indian.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You get the point. That's what they're saying, I guess.
Yeah, in most of those cases, you get the point. You know what he's trying to say, the coach.
Yeah.
Right, the Cold War sniffle thing.
And I guess what Denise is trying to say is, I'm still into women.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to say it, but I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. Some things have changed about me, but not everything.
Right.
Okay, now we're at the double R, where Ed is sad sacking all over enormous pie. I hate the scene.
Yeah.
She's lending a sympathetic ear. I don't know why.
You still talk, Ed.
Remember when we were kids, all those plans we made? We were just waiting around for our lives to begin, planning all that stuff we'd do when we did. Suddenly you're halfway through living it, and all those plans, they just don't mean a damn thing. Living my life, Norma, I just don't like it much.
Again, he's not even really making all that much sense.
Right.
He's just like, I don't know, I'm sad. We had plans when we were kids, and they didn't happen, and I'm living my life, and I just don't like it much. And she holds his hand, and then Hank is listening in, but we don't even see Hank in this episode other than a picture of Hank.
The picture is like from behind too.
And his domino. We know it's him because he's dangling his domino.
Maybe Chris Mulkey was busy or something. Maybe that's not even him.
Yeah.
I don't even remember seeing him in the credits. Although, I mean, they could have taken a picture at any time, you know.
They definitely.
But I did notice, like, whoever's looking at the picture knows it's Hank immediately, even though it's just from behind.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Maybe it's because he's with Ernie and they're like those two.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they get confirmation from Ernie.
Right.
At the sheriff's station, Lucy's sitting in the reception desk when Dick breezes in. It's really funny that she fixes her hair, even though he never sees that. She quickly fixes her hair, but he's making a beeline for Andrew. Is that the first time anyone's called him Andrew? Like, I didn't even at first, I was like, who is he talking about? I guess Andy is an Andrew. There's never been less of an Andrew than Andy Brennan. He heads straight to tell Andy about his gross misinterpretation of the earlier events of Little Nicky, and how he thinks Little Nicky is literally the devil trying to kill him. Dick says that Little Nicky is at the very least homicidal in the first degree. That's what he says, at the very least.
At the very least.
Yeah.
What does he have the most then?
actual devil.
Okay.
Those are the two choices.
Jesus. Nobody has any chill this episode. My God. Like, I'm gonna lynch you. You're at least a first-degree murderer. Christ, man.
This child. And then Andy imagines Little Nicky in a double costume. And it's a little bubble right next to his brain, where his brain would be. And it inspires an entire Adam Sandler movie. Crazy.
I love it. I thought it was great.
You love it.
I thought it was funny.
That sets
I
them
thought it
on
was
their
very
mission
funny.
to find out what happened to Little Nicky's parents.
That I don't love.
Right.
No.
So many plots we don't need in Twin Peaks.
There are. I do keep thinking about your idea, Andy, of just putting the French woman back in there, just
From
getting
the
ready. The French woman from the reserve.
Yeah,
It would
I
be so
love
much
her.
better if just suddenly she were
We're
there.
watching
kind of-
her get ready. We're watching the guy sweep.
Yes, absolutely.
Très chic.
But in the conference room, Hayward comes in real quick to tell Dwayne that the results of the autopsy were that it's just a heart attack. And Dwayne's like,
Did you check him for witchcraft?
I mean, what's witchcraft? Like, boom, you have a heart attack. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you don't die of witchcraft.
exactly. That's what was something a witch
It was
said.
witchcraft. Okay, believe me. You know, if a person could die of witchcraft and I was a witch, like, we would all know.
Yes,
Okay?
I think so.
Every
Same.
day there's evidence that I am not someone who can kill people with my mind, okay?
I have to agree. Oh, there was a funny line from Dwayne that he says she killed him with sex. That's really what he
Sexual
thinks.
adventure.
Then Hawk appears, and he's got the widow Milford. He's trying to comfort her, I guess, and he wants to put a little Irish in some warm milk.
Yeah.
What a strange drink.
Little Irish. Maybe a man from Galway.
Yes,
Right.
that's another theme. The Little Irish is the theme in this
Right.
episode.
Is that even a drink? Like, would anyone ever drink whiskey and milk
Ugh.
to put someone to sleep? It sounds like something your
Maybe
grandma
it's
might
my
have
mom.
done.
My mom put Bailey's.
Right, that's
in
what I was
hot
like, maybe it
chocolate.
was like Irish cream or something.
Oh, maybe it was Irish cream. A little Irish. She doesn't say whiskey.
I mean, I would drink that.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, but she's not going to sleep. It seems like they're going to be there talking all night.
He's trying to get her a drink. But whiskey and milk is not a good drink. And then they have a picture of milk later.
Or maybe he
Yes,
was like
that's
trying to
really
offer
weird.
her a drink, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't drink straight whiskey. What else do you have?"
We had donuts, probably.
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, "We have coffee. It's too late for coffee. We have milk for the coffee." I don't know. I guess I can see how he got there. But again, it's kind of like the Tommy Wiseau, like,
Right.
I don't drink, but this is what I think people drink.
Right.
Tommy Wiseau maybe has like a secret guest credit on this episode. Anyways, suddenly all the men that are standing in the hallway, that's Dick, Doc Hayward, Andy,
And Harry.
and Harry, are just fucking mesmerized. And there's like a music cue that happens, and I know Dick does, but I think also Hayward is the other one who starts quoting Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
She doth teach the torches to burn bright. Beauty too rich for use.
So crazy. There's that poetry motif. She doth teach the torches to burn bright. That whole thing. And then back at reception, I guess it's a little later on, there's a call for Sheriff Truman, but the men are nowhere to be found. They're all in Harry's office drinking a pitcher of milk.
Mm-hmm. As
Presumably
you
there's
do.
whiskey there or something, but it looks like just milk. And Lana's telling the stories.
So wait, it gets better. And then I said, well, what do you think underpants are for anyway?
I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. I try to make sense of the stories,
Right.
but they don't seem interesting.
That's
in
what
any way.
underwear is for, or something.
And then something about a clown taking off all his clothes.
And Lucy hates it.
Yeah.
She especially hates that Andy is refilling her milk glass.
Yeah. Andy's pretty into it.
He is. And then we're at the double R, and we see some high heels and calves enter the double R. I'm not sure those are David Duchovny's legs, though.
Oh.
Because they're really skinny.
Yeah.
They're skinny.
Very skinny calves. And then you see the legs walk over to the booth, and then it cuts to David Duchovny's torso.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Denise sits down in the booth and crosses her legs, the legs that you see are much bigger than the calves we just saw.
Oh.
It looks like she can't even fit them into the booth, like under the table.
I mean, he's pretty tall.
Just kind of on the side. I don't know. I just really noticed that it could have panned up, but it didn't. It cuts.
Yeah.
Cuts to the torso.
Gotta really
I think
check
there
out the
was a leg
Zapruder film
stand-in.
here.
Yeah.
Leg gate.
But it's a cute little walk anyway. And Denise is putting the pressure on Ernie.
You've been to prison. I don't need to paint you any pictures. You're guilty of a serious parole violation. Enough to put you back inside. And unless you cooperate, I intend to do everything in my power to make sure you stay there.
The squeeze.
The squeeze. Guilty of a serious parole violation. She has the photos of him at the Dead Dog Farm. And she's in for an undercover sting, which we know is Denise's fave. The girl loves a drug sting. Ernie folds right up. He starts confessing all kinds of things.
Very theatrically.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a rehearsed speech he's giving. They're trying to make him shut up.
It probably is.
Right.
I'm sure he said that kind of
I
shit
mean,
before.
this is probably like the best it could have gone for him. Like, he doesn't want to be
Right.
involved in this, and it's not like he has some allegiance to Hank. Like, I wouldn't rat out them, you know.
He
He's like,
actually,
okay,
like-
good. Yes, you're gonna give me some immunity or something. Great, whatever you want to know.
You're right. Actually, his line, love makes a guy do illegal things. It sounds like nonsense, but when you really think about it in his situation, it was like he really was bribed into doing this. From the very beginning, he said no to Hank, and Hank was like, okay, well, I'll just bribe you then. And he's like, fine, I'll do the thing.
More like threatened.
Threatened.
More like
Yeah.
blackmail.
It's blackmail.
Literally his arm around Ernie's throat.
Ugh.
Denise takes Ernie back to her room. I think it's her room because it looks different than Coop's room, but I think it's probably the same room but dressed differently. But it's really small. It's really funny how she's kind of like sitting on the edge of the bed.
Yeah.
And in Coop's room, there's like a big space between the bed and the whatever like table that's along the wall. And in her room, it's all really close together. And there's that big window out there with the lightning going the whole time.
Yes.
Just lots of loud lightning and thunder. Well, they make a plan to bust the drug dealers. And then one more little scene at the marshes
Oh,
where
gosh.
James is woken by shouting. I really do love Malcolm's entry.
First time he beat her, I swore revenge. That was 4 years ago.
The first time he beat her, I swear that was 4 years ago.
What is Malcolm's accent supposed to be all of a sudden?
It comes and
It was
goes.
4 years ago.
Yeah, he's doing a bit.
That's his character, yeah. He really worked this character.
He's over the top because he is lying through his teeth.
The character he's doing is from Maine.
Right. That's how they
Old
talk
man
in
from
Maine.
4 years ago. It's
That
perfect.
doesn't sound like Maine to me, but okay.
Alright, we're almost done, guys.
Okay.
At the Briggs house, Betty is sitting alone in the dark.
Betty, please.
Bobby enters.
Oh, right. I forgot about this.
I love this scene. He shakes the rain out of his hair.
Doing here, sitting alone in the dark.
Just sitting here.
Well, read a book or something, will you? It's creepy.
Betty starts crying. She turns on an owl lamp.
Yes.
I would think that Briggs would be like afraid of owls and not want a bunch of owls shit around the house.
I don't think Briggs has an appropriate fear of things.
Until the end of
Like-
the scene. Maybe not. Yeah, he's very chill about
Well,
worse than the Cold War.
Right. Yeah, and he's not afraid to just go alone in the woods at night.
Yeah. It keeps coming back, actually, how he's not afraid enough about his own life.
Right.
But anyway, Bobby's like, you're upset about Dad, right? Yes, obviously. He's been missing for 2 days. I do love Bobby says this is just some top secret jazz.
Yeah.
Bobby
I like
anticipated
that.
Siege Watch. We haven't heard anything like that in a while. And then Bobby tells Betty about that other amazing scene. I really love this scene.
Wasn't the double R a couple weeks ago? There, Maggie. And his talk. About this dream he had. Dad was there. I was there too. Living a life of deep harmony and joy. And there was all this stuff about my future. Good stuff.
Your father is an extraordinary being.
My father is a deeply weird individual.
He's so cute recounting the story. He gets like all the emotional beats in there. And then his face when he says, Mom, it was cool, is so fucking
Yeah.
cute.
Bobby kills this scene. Like,
I know. They both do. I really love when Betty breaks down when she says,
Sometimes when I'm sleeping, he runs his fingers through my hair. Because I don't know.
Oh, that's so sweet. And then, just when she's finishing that sentence, there's some sort of, I think, is there an electrical sound? Mm-hmm. And then Garland just appears.
How long have I been gone?
2 days.
Strange. Seem not sure.
And he's wearing like an old-timey
it's like a steampunk kind of look.
He's been somewhere where there's Zeppelins, probably.
Right.
But he doesn't remember.
We just learned he's a pilot in this episode, so he's dressed like Amelia Earhart for some reason.
Yeah.
Sky captain or something.
It's unusual.
Strange.
It's not what he was dressed like when he disappeared.
No, he's wearing his camping outfit.
His little beanie.
He tells Bobby to put out that cigarette and fix me a cocktail.
Strong one.
I wonder what kind of cocktail Bobby fixes.
Right.
Milk.
Milk and Irish.
Milk and Irish.
And I love this very passionate kiss between Betty and Garland. You don't see that kind of thing from
old people.
To older people of a certain age. Yeah, it's nice that they say the passion is not gone.
Well, he was disappeared for a couple days.
She says,
"Is everything all right?"
No. Not exactly.
And then the producer credits are over a big spooky bunch of clouds. Normally I think clouds are very cool, but I find these clouds very spooky.
Yeah, it's a spooky clouds.
Yeah.
Spooky clouds, lightning. And that's the end of the episode. Motifs.
Mm-hmm.
We got the persistent random misfortune.
Right.
We got the poems.
We get the what?
Poems.
Oh, poems, yeah. And I feel like crazy outfits is a motif. Some crazy clothing. I mean,
yeah.
Coop and then Nicky and Dick and then I feel like what Catherine's wearing is crazy and his Amelia Earhart look. It's a lot.
It is, but then some really good ones. Like Audrey's looks great.
Right.
Donna looks great. I really like Denise's outfits too. Denise always looks really hot in her business. her lady business outfit. And Josie looks so cute in her maid uniform, even though it's supposed to be humiliating. I really do think she's like eating that shit up. Like she's like, you thought I would be humiliated in this outfit, but I look so cute.
Maybe she had to go buy her own maid outfit.
I think she would prefer that.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I'll wear a maid outfit as long as I can have it tailored. It's gonna look good. Any other motifs you can think of?
Fixing cars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mentioned little secret doors.
What's the other secret door?
Yeah.
Audrey's secret door.
The first scene opens on the little secret door in Ben's office.
Oh, he's leaning up against it. I wonder if there's those hatches, like Audrey's hatch connects to but like only one of them knows about it.
There's like a hallway behind the hallway.
Yeah.
But I think Ben's little secret door goes back to like an office behind his office. But it must go somewhere because like Hank hides there sometimes.
Yeah, Hank can get in there from...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe it goes outside. It's like his escape.
Right. I mean, that was like how he tried to escape.
He was trying to escape, yeah.
Was getting arrested.
I'm going to go get a sandwich.
What a crazy thing to say. It's a known thing. It's when you get arrested, you can stop and have a sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Maybe. Sandwich rights.
Sometimes. Only if you just killed a bunch of people in your white
You have the right
You're
to
at
get a
Burger
sandwich.
King. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Roadhouse is proud to welcome...
Let's go with the LVP. Let's do that one right out of the gate.
Oh, gosh. For me, it's Evelyn. Because I just cannot stand her. I mean, you can't give it to James, so Evelyn, I guess, with her. Yeah.
The only reason we have the Marshes is because we're following James for some reason on this stupid
It's
adventure.
all James' fault
It is.
that we're even here with Malcolm, who is my LVP.
Right, yeah, it's like toss-up. I flipped through a coin in the air.
It landed on
Evelyn.
You knocked out Evelyn's front
That was
tooth.
my coin. And yours landed on Malcolm's forehead and smashed it.
And he said, we haven't had a coin here in 5 years.
right, who's your...
I went with Ed.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't know. I know the more... I surprised myself, really, because every time we're at the Marsh Mansion, I'm like, ugh. But I was just enjoying the ridiculousness of it so much this time. But then when Ed was on screen complaining about his life, there's nothing I can enjoy about that. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. It makes me so sad that Norma's placating him.
It's a pretty boring scene.
Yeah.
And what's the whole point of it? Is it just
that Hank is
watching
Hank
saw them?
I guess, yeah.
Hank's onto them?
Right.
Whoa. I
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he does confront Norma. Like she's gonna...
So there's a payoff on this.
But that's stupid. It's not really. I wouldn't call it a payoff.
Small payoff.
Yeah. I just hate Ed. He sucks. I don't want Norma to spend the next 25 years waiting for him, but unfortunately she does. So that fucking sucks. Let's do a fun one. The fish in the percolator.
There was a fish in the percolator.
There's so many.
So many good choices.
I was torn between a few. Coop and his not really. Yes. That really made me laugh.
That was mine as well. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah.
And then that's how it ends. And it's,
that was a great way to punctuate that scene. It's just so good.
It is really cute. It's so good. And it really nails how good-natured Coop is, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really being reminded of Coop's general likability in this episode.
Totally.
Affability.
Oh,
yeah, you
very
mentioned
affable.
when, because he's working with Denise, and Audrey says, I thought you were suspended. And the way he doesn't say, like, I am, right? He says it, like, in a really, like, genial, like, I am.
Yeah.
Right. That seems just so exciting.
That doesn't explain anything. He's just like, yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah.
That was very much reiterated today. But I guess he's allowed to be helpful to investigations.
Well,
sort of.
He's trying to prove that he's not guilty or being.
And he didn't even really do any of that. Like, that was all
dumb luck.
Yeah, that was all Coop's magic shit.
Right.
He fucking flipped a coin. He wasn't even supposed to go there.
And Audrey intercepted some photos.
Yeah.
Like, a lot had to come together.
Mm-hmm.
What's your fish in the percolator?
I was gonna say that, but not really, because it's so good, and I totally agree. But just to be a little different, I laughed so hard during Pete's scene.
Oh, interesting.
Pete's limerick.
Yeah, well, the whole thing. Like, I like his...
It's the bubbles.
Reading of the Yeats poem. And it's the bubbles. Nectar of the Gods. He's doing, like, his eye-twitching thing. It's just a very giggly...
So great.
It's a giggly scene for me. It's so delightful.
Good choice.
And it makes something that would otherwise be kind of painful, like Catherine being terrible, very palatable. Ceiling fan, on the other hand.
This was hard because it's not very scary, this episode. I guess, like, when the light went out right before Briggs came back, like, that was a little bit scary. That was mine. I mean, I was going to go with, like, Malcolm's forehead or her tooth or something, but, like, I like to do a real thing, so. All right. So I'll say that. Okay. It's not especially scary, but, you know.
Yeah. Well, I can go adjacent to that. It's just his no, dear, not exactly.
Yeah.
Because when someone says, is it going to be all right? Usually your inclination is to be like, oh, yes, it's going to be fine. I'm back now. You expect him to say, I'm back now, it's fine. Everything's fine. But it's not. It's not fine.
Yeah, it's not.
That's probably the real ceiling fan, that scene. But I am most grossed out by just eating random powders you find.
Oh, God. Yes.
That for me.
In the sink,
that's my
too.
personal,
Like, in the drain.
Eating out of a drain of the dead dog farmhouse.
Right.
Not going to do that.
He said they forgot the plumbing, like, there's no running water.
There's
how
nothing.
much else has been dumped into that sink that's not been rinsed down?
It does not.
Fucking ash. It's gross.
Yeah.
Don't do that. No matter how sure you are that it's baby laxative.
Right. If you're sure, then don't even taste it.
Right. It's really horrifying. They do a good job of making that place look gross.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they do. They kind of go overboard. Like a burned curtain is not how you make a place look.
It's like that elementary school thing where you're like, I made a map.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pirate map, but put it on fire.
How do we make this house look old? Just burn the edges a little bit.
Right.
Dump some tea all over everything. All right, MVP.
My MVP is Audrey.
Aww.
Wow, we were... I I also was Audrey.
Yeah.
Really?
We had a lot of the same
Well,
choices.
she's great in that scene, you know.
I like that
She's
scene a
so
lot.
impressed by Denise. And then also, you know, she got those photos. That was actually very helpful.
She saved Coop's life.
See?
Yeah.
What? I mean,
Yeah.
how much more value can you bring?
I like the little scene with Bobby. Even.
Pretty great. I love it. I love it. I'm still going to stick with my original choice, though, which is Denise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a good
Very
choice.
much still in the, I mean, pretty much same reasons as Audrey.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly, but like she's also in the process of saving Coop's butt and making stuff happen.
Yeah.
Her little
She's
shakedown
very
of Bernie is
yeah.
great.
Right.
She inspires Audrey. I really like how much she inspires Audrey. And I don't think Audrey would have been as inspired. She was already, like, feeling pretty good because she saved Coop's life, but that extra boost.
They have women agents?
Like, if only what happens didn't happen to her, she would. I can
Audrey.
see another universe where she went to Quantico and she got to be Tammy Preston.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. That would have been a better Twin Peaks spin-off.
Audrey, I'm so sorry. It's so sad.
It's funny there wasn't a Twin Peaks spin-off. It was so popular.
Well, it was supposed to be Mulholland Drive.
Oh, that's right. You told me about
Yeah.
that. And Sherilyn Fenn was supposed to be in that, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was supposed to be Audrey going to Hollywood?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
David Lynch soured on the network too much.
Yeah.
That's what happened
I can
there.
imagine.
Yeah.
It would have been Twin Peaks without David Lynch, and they already knew they didn't really like that much.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we'll get that Wisteria Lane someday.
Wisteria Lane.
That's the next David Lynch project, allegedly.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
It's exciting. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's been since The Return.
2017.
Yeah, so that's not too long. He works pretty infrequently.
And it's not coming out anytime soon.
Before that, it was like...
It'll be longer now.
Inland Empire.
He doesn't put out stuff very often.
He's like once a decade these days.
Right.
Yeah. We take what we can get, but it's almost always really good when it comes out. So it's worth the wait. All right.
Yeah, totally. That's rare, right? That somebody this late in his career is still making his best work, I think, with The Return.
Yeah.
Not so much Inland Empire.
But I think that's because he really had to do it all by himself.
Hmm.
Like, nobody was helping him with that.
It's definitely a vibe.
Self-funded. He needs his budgets. He needs big budgets. Not big budgets, but he needs budgets beside his own money.
Uh-huh.
That's how you get Inland Empire. The Return is so perfect because it's David Lynch being able to do whatever he wants.
It's like, here, do whatever you want.
And he has the money to do it. Really Weird Stuff is hosted by Annie Malone and Jessica Baxter. Music by Julie Cruz, Angelo Badalamenti, and Jessica Baxter. If you enjoyed Really Weird Stuff, please take a minute to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on Instagram at Really Weird Stuff Pod, on Twitter at Really Weird Pod, and on Facebook at Really Weird Stuff Podcast. Thank you for listening.